So we have this and two more pre-finals to go. DD2 Masters up next. And your starting grid is as follows. Karl Klebert starts from pole position, and he has the defending champion from 2020 alongside him, France's Rudy Champion from Piquet's Competition. Tom Dessert and France's Jonathan Wimmer ran out the top two rows, so it is a Belgian and French driver on both front rows respectively. Christophe Capitain from France and Estonia's Pritsai ran out the top six positions. Slavomir Moransky making his debut this weekend at the B&L Karting Series. He's won multiple races and titles in Poland and also in continental Europe, along with the 2018 DD2 Masters crown from the Euro Trophy. So he, along with Ian Getz, ran out the top 8 positions. Christoph Adams and Bruno Dos Santos ran out the top 10, with Germany's Dimitri Ostrovsky, Latvia's Juris Zalaitis, and Belgium's Frederick Goose Baker round out the top 13 positions. And, well, they do say that the number 13 is lucky for some. Well, it could be unlucky for others, because not only have we got 13 drivers, we have got 13 minutes plus an additional lap of racing. The DD2 Masters final will take place at 15:35 Central European Summer Time this afternoon. That's 14:35 or 2:35 p.m. for those watching over in the United Kingdom. So this, I think, has to be the slowest formation lap that we have had so far this weekend, because Karl Klebert wants to make sure that everyone gets into position. He wants a clean start at the end of the day. I can completely understand that. Everyone else wants to have a clean start, but we've seen it before where we've had a full start. It's never been easy for some of the drivers to get themselves back onto that sort of level pegging, if you will. So we're about seconds out, ready to get racing once again. So it will be down to Karl Klebert and Rudy Champion to start proceedings here in the DD2 Masters pre-final. Third out of 4 races for this class here at the home of champions Karting Genk. And now the mind games start to begin. Who will get the jump going into turns 1 and 2? Or seconds away from finding out. Through into the tram lines they go. Are we ready? Are we steady? Well, it looks to be a good start. We're off and racing, and a great start from Karl Klebert, who gets ahead, as that is Tom Dessert up the inside. Oh, and he comes together with Rudy Champion going through turn 2. Oh, and I think he nearly rode up the back bumper of Karl Klebert in the process, and Tom Dessert, as a result of that, has dropped behind Frederick Baker, who's had a brilliant start, and he's got himself up into what is going to be 11th position, and he's just gesticulating like a madman at Tom Dessert, saying, "What on earth was that?" You know. But the biggest thing is that now this is changing everything. Or was that? I'm just keeping an eye on all the drivers making their way down into the turn 10. So coming together between Tom Dessert and Rudy Champion on the very first lap has put the defending champion at a bit, well, he's got some work to do, has Rudy Champion. Karl Klebert leads them across the line to complete lap number 1. Nearly 0.6 of a second ahead of France's Jonathan Wimmer, and Christophe Capitain makes his way up into 3rd place. Ian Getz and Slavomir Moransky ran out the top 5. Christoph Adams in 6th ahead of Juris Zalaitis, who's up into 7th ahead of Pritsai. Tom Dessert in 9th. Frederick Baker in 10th. Rudy Champion all the way down in stone dead last, and he is 2.7 seconds behind Bruno Dos Santos. And I think realistically the distance that Rudy Champion has got to make up is quite Herculean in some respects, and whether he's going to decide to stick it out and go for it, as now there was Pritsai trying to go up the inside of Zalaitis. That nearly allowed Tom Dessert to get past him on that particular occasion, as Tom Dessert up the inside of Pritsai going through the final corner. Frederik Bacot not too far behind the Estonian either, as Tom de Serre manages to get his way through, and then, the switch back there from Pritzai was perfectly timed, and Frederik Bacot was like a scalded cat on a hot tin roof. He managed to get through past Tom de Serre on the next corner, but then de Serre gets through past him on turn 6, and Bacot now trying to get the run on him going through into turn number 7. This is absolutely brilliant battling between this quintet at the back of the field, with Rudy Champion starting to close. So Klebot has a 5/10 of a second lead, an advantage over Jonathan Wemo from France. Christophe Capitain makes it 2 French drivers in the top 3, but is being closed in on by Ian Gapts from Belgium, Poland, Slavomir Moransky, and Christophe Adams, this time representing the Netherlands. And this is a running joke. We don't know which license he's going to throw at us, whether it's French, Belgian, or Dutch. But on this particular occasion, it's the Dutch one. So he has factored in a little bit earlier on in this weekend. He's shown very good pace, as always, using his skills that he's amassed over the past couple of decades or so, and is the most decorated participant in the Rotax Grand Finals pantheon of history. 18 successive appearances, a 2-time champion, both in Max Masters and DD2 Masters. Max Masters not used in the current scheme of things, reference the B&L Karting Series, the Euro Trophy and other European championships. But some places such as South America, where Christophe Adams ventured to Argentina last year to try and get a spot on the roster for Team Belgium for the 2020 Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals, which eventually, unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, was postponed. Or was first postponed, and then it was cancelled. As there goes Christophe Adams up the inside of Slavomir Moransky, as it looks like Christophe Capitain having a ding-dong battle with Ian Gapts. So that's for 3rd place on the road. And Christophe Adams, last time around on the completion of lap number 4, set the fastest lap of the race of 54.302. There is still 8.5 minutes of this race still to go. So Carl Clermont now has nearly a second advantage over Jonathan Wemo from France. Ian Gapts now gets past Christophe Capitain to round out the top 3, with Christophe Adams, Slavomir Moransky, Pritzai, Tom de Serre, Yuris Salaitis, Frederik Bacot rounding out the top 10. Dmitry Ostrovsky in 11th, Bruno dos Santos in 12th, but Rudy Champion has closed up over the last few laps, which is, well, that's nearly 4 minutes. He's closed up a nigh on 2.3 second gap between him and Bruno dos Santos, and Rudy Champion in the process has set the fastest lap of the race. And there goes Champion up the inside of dos Santos, so up into 12 goes the reigning defending champion, and he's got to make some moves in the next few laps to try and close in. I would probably imagine if he gets into the top 5, that's going to put him in good standing for the final this afternoon, which takes place at 3:35 p.m. this afternoon. So after this, we will have the first B pre-final that I think I've commentated on in the B&L Karting Series since I joined the championship back in October 2018. And then we'll have the Senior A final as Frederik Bacot makes a nice move up the inside of Yuris Salaitis through into turn 10 to take 9th place. Carl Klebot continues to lead. His gap now, his lead, his advantage is 1.2 seconds. Ian Gapts closing on the French driver in 2nd position, the 560 of Jonathan Wemo, as we are past the halfway point of this race. And these drivers now still have to do their level best for the next few laps or so. But Ian Gepps is closing and trying his level best to close and get onto close quarter combat terms with Jonathan Wimmer. Christophe Capitain is being hunted down by the likes of Christophe Adams, Slavomir Moransky, Pritzai and Tom Dessert. Frederick Baker leads the train behind, which looks to have Rudy Champion now in 10th position, as Champion is quickly deposed of Ostrovsky and Zalaitis. So Ian Gepps still trying to close in on Wimmer for second position. Gets a bit closer in the braking zones through turn 5. Well, there isn't really a braking zone. You've just got to literally turn the car, rotate the car in, lift off the throttle, put it back down, and hope to God that the Mojo D5 tyres stick to the tarmac. And they are covered by probably about a kart length and a half between them. And Christophe Capitain now has Christophe Adams right behind him. Pritzai has got Tom Dessert. Well, you've got Slavomir Moransky behind him. Tom Dessert also behind the 541 from 46 team. Over the line they go. Klibort still has a 1.2 second lead. Pritzai has set the fastest lap of the race on the completion of lap 8, a 54.101 from the Estonian, as he's now trying to close the gap between himself and Christophe Adams. And Christophe Adams was just under a tenth and a half slower, but he's been trying to get past Christophe Capitain as much as he can. Well, he'll try to get past as quickly as he can, but now Pritzai has dropped Slavomir Moransky and Tom Dessert in the process. Adams can now sense that the Estonian is behind him. Through into the right-hander at turn 10 with just over 4 minutes to go. Klibort about to cross the line again to go on to, we're now going to hit double figures and go on to lap number 11. And Carl Klibort has been running consistently in the 54.3s for the last 3 laps in succession. Jonathan Wimmer sets the personal best as there tries to go Tom Dessert up the inside of Slavomir Moransky through turn 2, but Christophe Adams in the meantime has got past Christophe Capitain from France for 4th position. Pritzai is with them. Moransky and Dessert dropping back a little bit, going down the Europolan, as there goes Pritzai, absolutely sends it like a good one up the inside of Christophe Capitain through turn 7. And the Frenchman quickly counter-attacks, but can't get past the Estonian through turn 8 on that particular chance. Well, that was a good move there from Pritzai. That livened up the race somewhat, didn't it? And Carl Klibort just being metronomic, keeping things controlled at the front of the field as he is about to cross the start-finish line once again, as Moransky gets past Capitain going through turn 12. Klibort now sets a personal best of 54.265 for his race so far. He's been able to keep it consistent as Dessert now forces his way past Christophe Capitain going through into turn 2. And there is Rudy Champion, who's now up into 9th place. So having dropped down to 13th position, he's back in the top 10. Whether he's going to chase down those in front, he's been running in the 54.4s. Worst lap from anybody this race so well in the last lap was Christophe Capitain, who did a 55.9. Rudy Champion last time a 54.4 from the Frenchman, and he was just over, or close to 3.5 tenths of a second quicker than Tom Dessert. So Dessert will find him closing down on him, and you can see it won't be Dessert, it will be Capitain, as now Ian Gepps still trying to get past Jonathan Wimmer, as Dmitry Ostrovsky on lap number 11 parks the kart in the pit lane. A real shame for the German. Again, another DNF for Ostrovsky, who will start from 13th position for the final a little bit later on this afternoon. But Ian Gepps is fast running out of time. He's now got to use that slipstream, but Ian Gepps, as I say that, decides to send it up the inside of Jonathan Wimmer from France, and the 567 gets the job done nice and cleanly through turn 7. It's a beautifully orchestrated overtake that was. Just waiting, using the slipstream, and then use the running momentum of the kart to get past, because you're not using as much throttle until you come out of the slipstream and you have that extra bit of travel. So the throttle cable and the potentiometer will then kick the engine into a bit more life, and you get a little bit of additional assistance through the slipstream to get past. So Ian Gap's up past Jonathan Wimore. Wimore now trying to get past the Belgian, trying to go through into turn 2, but they're going through into turn 5 now, into the right-hander at 6, and there goes Wimore to try and return the favour to Ian Gaps, but Gaps keeps it planted around the outside and powers round past the Frenchman on the outside of the exit of turn 6, heading onto the Europalan. Time fast running out. Carl Klebort's lead is now nearly 2 seconds, because whilst Ian Gaps and Jonathan Wimore have been battling, it's allowed Carl Klebort to get away into the distance. And at the moment, looking at the sector times, well, Carl Klebort is one of the quickest out there. Looks like Christophe Adams seems to be the quickest, or nearly the quickest. Well, that honour goes to Tom Dessert. Oh, technical dramas for Frederick Baker, as, there's a switchback party going on between Ian Gaps and Jonathan Wimore. Wimore sent it up the inside of Gaps, who retaliated, going through the entrance into turn 2. The Belgian just absolutely nailed it, as now we have hit the expiry of 13 minutes on the clock. So after this, Carl Klebort will go on to the 16th and final lap of this race, the penultimate race for DD2 Masters this weekend. And then after this one, well, you're going to have to grab some popcorn and hold on for the roller coaster ride that we're going to have over the next 2 races, which in duration will be around about 28 minutes of racing, nearly half an hour worth of senior Rotax action, both B and A pre-finals about to happen very soon. But Carl Klebort onto the last lap now has a lead, a comfortable lead of nearly 2.7 seconds. Rudy Champion's made his way up into 8th position. So Frederick Baker and Dmitry Ostrovsky have both retired. 11 drivers left. As now Tom Dessert battling away with Christophe Adams for P5 on the road as they go through turn 6 for the final time. Slavomir Moransky behind the pair at this particular moment. Carl Klebort still leading, has been rather untouched. As, oh my goodness me, a little bit further up the order, Pritzai was trying, well, that was Ian Gaps trying to get past Jonathan Wimore for second position. Pritzai was behind them, and it's going to be a run to the line, I think, for second place. But Carl Klebort, De Backer, he's back on firing form. Through turn 12 comes the number 510 from KMD, representing Belgium, and he wins the pre-final here on day 2. Jonathan Wimore beats Ian Gaps to second position, with Pritzai taking 4th. Christophe Adams takes 5th position. Now, there were some dramas. Tom Dessert actually down in the top 10. Christophe Adams in 5th place. Rudy Champion in 6th. Christophe Capitan in 7th, ahead of Slavomir Moransky, with Juris Dalaitis, Tom Dessert and Bruno Dos Santos rounding out the top 11 drivers, with Frederick Baker parking it up 3 laps before the end on lap number 13, and Dmitry Ostrovsky from Germany retired on lap number 11.